Good afternoon, everyone. We are just making sure everybody gets in before we go ahead and get started. Admitting a few more people. Okay, we will go ahead and get started. So my name is Francisco Lugo. I am currently serving as the Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life here at Georgia Southern. I've been in this role for about 8 years, so kind of a veteran doing Panhellenic recruitment so far. So always had a good experience. So definitely excited to be here with you all to kind of give you a glimpse of what your daughter will go through starting next week. And with me, I have two lovely people that will be helping me throughout this week. So you will also see their names in different emails, conversations. Your daughter might be talking about them when they reach out to you. So I wanted to kind of go ahead and give them the opportunity to kind of present themselves as well. And before we jump into the presentation.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kara J. Toft. I am the coordinator in the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. As Francisco said, we are so excited to welcome your daughters to the recruitment process and go into a little more in depth what that specifically looks like. And then I will let Harriet take the floor.
Hi, everyone. My name is Harriet Baker. I am a recruitment consultant and work with the staff and student leaders on campus to execute an intentional and thoughtful recruitment process.
And the next person we will choose is one of the biggest advocates of fraternity and sorority life here at Georgia Southern. She is my boss, aka. So again, I wanted to kind of give Dr. Dow a quick minute to kind of introduce herself and say some things.
Thank you, Dr. Lugo. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aileen Dow, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Associate Vice President and Dean of Students. I've been in my role since February 1, so this is my first recruitment process. I am so excited to partake with you all, with your students, and just know that as Dr. Lugo mentioned, I am a huge advocate for fraternity sorority life. I am a member of an AMPHC organization, so just know that we look to you all as partners in this recruitment process, and we hope that you and your daughter's experience is amazing. And just know that we are a resource for you and willing to help in any way we can. So please reach out if you need assistance. But wish you the best in this recruitment process, and know that we're all excited to see your wonderful faces.
Thank you, Dr. Dow.
So moving on with some more familiar faces, our president is Mandy Marciniak of the Panhellenic Association, which oversees our 8 chapters here at Georgia Southern. And then our vice president of recruitment is Vinja Ramprasad. I specifically want to highlight these two lovely ladies of our Panhellenic executive board, specifically because these are going to be familiar faces that your lovely daughters or other women may be seeing throughout the process. They're really going to help them specifically figure out where they see themselves, how the process is going, talking about their values, etc. So just wanted to make sure everyone understands who these lovely women are. So recruitment week, what does it look like? It starts August 3rd and goes all the way till August 8th. Specifically, what your women will be doing is just meeting and interacting with the sorority women up and down on row, which is directly housed next to campus. They're really going to go more in depth each day, and we'll specifically talk about that, about what the rounds look like, the parties and the events, just learning about sororities' values, if they see themselves within the house, learning about their philanthropies, making sure that they have that values-based conversation while in their houses, and then learn exactly what it means to be involved in fraternity and sorority life, specifically at Georgia Southern, as well as what does it mean to be a member of the chapters that we have on row. It's also an opportunity for them to connect with multiple individuals. Not only will they be interacting with sorority women, but also recruitment counselors, the office staff here, and then of course our Panhellenic executive board, and then of course one another. So there's really an immense opportunity for them to kind of engage in multiple facets in campus and get them more involved as they all come to Georgia Southern, whether they're an incoming freshman, a transfer, or potentially an upperclassman. So some recruitment lingo. This is more just so you all can become familiar with potentially what your daughter is bringing home or sharing about her experience. You hear a lot, they will be referred to as a potential new member. So all of the women who are going through the process will be called this specifically from chapters as well as the office. It's mainly just a name given to women that are going through the recruitment process. So it's just easier than the women, the students. It's a potential new member that is interested in going through the recruitment process. We also have a number that is associated with their P&M status. And this is pretty much what they are given as a register for recruitment. So all the way from 1 to 693, which is how many individuals we have going through recruitment. Really high, exciting number. And then a bid, in case you are not familiar, is an invitation to membership. However, it is the chapter's collective decision to invite that P&M, your student or your daughter, to come back to her house and be involved in that membership process. For our Pi Kais, they have really gone through extensive training to make sure that they are ready to go to help your women find their home. They are considered initiated undergraduate sorority women that are in all our different chapters up and down row, and they have disaffiliated during this time to help your daughter find her home and have these important values-based conversations regarding what they're looking for in a sorority. And then some more lingo. We call the rounds different themes, and that is specifically just to find out what chapter is best fit. So we have a sisterhood round, a philanthropy round, and then a preference round, as well as an icebreakers round. We'll go a little more in depth to that on the schedule piece when we get there. This is still just recruitment lingo. For parties, these are events that sororities host, and this is pretty much what each day looks like. So this is where they're really involved. They may have 30-minute parties, they may have hour parties, they may have 45-minute parties. It's just dependent on the day and the round that they are specifically involved in. And a lot of the times they will get breaks throughout the day. So do rest assured, it's not necessarily just a one long process. They get some breaks. We have snacks and waters. We're definitely going to take care of them to the best of our ability. And then our last two items specifically here is going to be our membership recruitment acceptance binding agreement. The women either call it Maraba or Mr. Abba, and this is essentially a binding agreement between our potential new member or your student or daughter and the NPC, which is the umbrella organization that oversees all of the sororities. And then last but not least, we have intentional single preference, or ISP for short. And this is specifically when a potential new member only highlights one chapter on that Maraba or Mr. Abba sheet, thus binding her specifically to the agreement. Harriet, the floor is yours. Should you like to talk more about that?
Excellent. We are really excited to be able to share information like this with you all as parents and support people to the students that are participating. It is critically important that you have accurate and up-to-date information through several years and almost a decade now of working with a recruitment program. It's just become more and more important and prioritized in the minds of our team that you all as parents and support people are who the students are going to first, as they have, moments of confusion or frustration or excitement even in understanding how the week progresses. So we will talk through and share with you as transparently as possible, because we see you as a partner in this. And over the course of several years, we've also learned that those of you that maybe have your own experiences with sorority recruitment, maybe when you were a student as an undergraduate, or with children that have gone through other processes on other campuses, it's become really enlightening how much has changed over the course of time, and the way that we advanced round to round impacts the way that students understand that their thoughts and feelings are fully considered at every step of the way. It's a super sophisticated way that they, again, move round to round with mutual interest with both the chapters and what it is that they seek in their own membership. Because at the end of the week, our goal is that they join an organization for a lifetime. And that's not a small choice, and that's not a small decision to be making at 18, 19, 20 years old. And so we want at every point for both you all as support people and the students to feel as if they have all the information they need to make such a huge decision. So we're going to share with you a video. If we'll advance the screen, we'll share with you a video that's going to walk us through what that process looks like. And again, this is an algorithm that works in a computer. So your student will have an app in which every day, and you'll hear the process, every day they'll indicate their interest. And then we use essentially what we call the mutual selection process to help them best understand or to best move and understand the schedules that they'll be receiving every day. So we'll let that play now. At mutual selection.
You guys hear it?
As a participant in sorority recruitment, you'll have the opportunity following each round to indicate your preferences for which chapter you would like to attend in the following round. You may already be familiar with mutual. I could narrate over it. Is that easier?
Can you hear it?
Mutual selection process.
Can you turn it up more, Francisco?
You like and who you may not like. However, in sorority recruitment, you do not have the opportunity to say no, but instead, no thank you. Let's take a closer look. For the purposes of our example today, we're going to look at a community represented with 8 sorority chapters and a maximum of 6 sorority invitations into the second round. You will indicate which 6 chapters you would like to meet in the next round and which 2 chapters fall outside of that. The 2 lists that you see on your screen represent the list on the right, your cluster list, or the 6 chapters you'd like to meet in the next round, and the list on your left, the rank list, which rank the 2 chapters that fall outside of your 6. The rank list is in preference order. 2, gamma, being preferred over 3, epsilon. Once you've indicated your preferences, a recruitment software will then collect information and invitations from the chapters to determine if there is a mutual match between the chapter and the PNM. For this example, this PNM indicated they would like to attend Alpha in the next round. Alpha has invited this PNM back, therefore a mutual match is made and an invitation into the next round is presented. The same is true for Beta and the same is true for Delta. However, Eta has not invited this PNM back. So even though the PNM has indicated they would like to go back to Eta, Eta is not a mutual match and an invitation will not be scheduled for the next day. However, the recruitment software will expand its search in order to maximize the number of PNM events that they attend and will now include Gamma from the rank list. The software continues to look for mutual matches in Iota, where it is mutual, and Lambda, where it's mutual. At this point, the PNM has 5 of the 6 events scheduled for the next round. To fill the 6th spot, we'll look to Gamma first, because the PNM has indicated that they would prefer Gamma over Epsilon. However, Gamma did not invite this PNM back. Therefore, it is not mutual, and the bracket in the middle extends to include Epsilon. At this point, Epsilon is a mutual match, and this PNM has a full schedule going into the next round of recruitment. There are several myths when it comes to mutual selection. For example, there is no cutting or dropping of an organization. You have the opportunity to cluster the organizations you prefer and then rank the organizations that fall outside of your cluster. If something were to not work out with someone in your rank in your cluster, we would look to your rank in your preference order to fill the schedule as best we can. Mutual selection provides an opportunity for PNM schedules to be filled with chapters that they might want to reconsider, but only after we considered their preferences in their cluster. Additionally, the use of recruitment software ensures that a chapter would never find out if a PNM ranked a chapter in the previous round versus clustered them. Understanding mutual selection is important as a PNM so that you can feel confident that your preferences were taken into consideration every step of the way, from the very first event until bid day. Excellent. So we share this information with you so that you are able to see kind of from a hypothetical high level space what this mutual selection or advancement round to round really looks like. It's helpful before we have names and faces and new relationships attached to this pretty large advanced concept. And like I mentioned earlier, an algorithm and many moving pieces that sometimes are really hard after you get into the fast-paced mix of the week. And so we present this to the student. All the participating students have access to this exact video that you just watched, and they are able to use that video and reference it time and time again while they are, again, receiving their schedule during each round of recruitment. Again, it is one of those things, we get calls, we are happy to answer questions. We're gonna lean on this exact language and lingo as we all navigate this together. I will say we get pieces that are like, I think there's been a glitch in the system, or the algorithm's wrong, or I wanna check everybody's work. And we can assure you, we're happy to go the distance to help you to understand and help ourselves to understand what this looks like. But again, we like to approach this topic early and transparently so that you all have the confidence that we have in this system. So I will turn it back over so we can talk more about the schedule for the week.
So basically this would be the schedule for the week. We are missing the move-in day, which again is August 2nd. So hopefully you have worked it out with housing. I know that they have a sign-up sheet or slot process. So make sure that, again, if there's any questions, concerns, you can let them know. We can also facilitate any conversations that you need to have with housing as well. So if you've been having issues with them, feel free to reach out to either Kira or myself, and we can make sure we navigate that, make sure that you're getting the right information to make sure you're ready to move in on that Monday, August 2nd. So if you did not know, basically that move-in will happen in Watson Commons in Centennial Place. So basically make sure that you're looking out for those emails from housing that tell where your woman will need to be checking in that. That Monday as well, we will have a pickup location where your daughter can also pick up her packet for the recruitment schedule and her shirts that she will be getting. So she will be getting information by the end of this week with all this information. So just make sure that they're checking their Georgia Southern emails to make sure they have all the information before you all head over to Southern to be ready to move in on Monday. But with that said, the first day is actually on August 3rd, which we call Icebreaker Day. So basically, we actually took this day and broke it down to 2 days, just because we have 7 chapters. What we know and from our community, from conversation with PNMs, was that it would be easier just to give women a break throughout the day in order for them to really get adjusted to this schedule. These 2 rounds will actually be virtual this year. So basically, they will be in front of Zoom, and then the afternoon, they will be having some opportunities to engage with each other in PICAs, and we will also have other campus partners come in and speak to the women after each day is over to make sure they're ready to go and set up for success as they join the Eagle Nation. On August 4th, that will be the first day that they actually will be making those selections, kind of like what Harry kind of was talking about in the video. That is really the first day that they're going to really make that selection. So on August 5th for Philanthropy Day, they're basically going to be invited up to 6 chapters or sororities. So basically 6 is an anomaly. Usually they will not get 6. So we just want to make sure that that is out there as well, because again, we seldomly see anybody with a full schedule for that day. So we just want to, again, manage expectations for that. So on August 6th, that is Sisterhood Day. And sorry, for Philanthropy Day, that is the day that they will be wearing their shirt that they get from Panhellenic. August 6th, Sisterhood Day, is basically they're going to be talking about their sisterhood. Once they will be making selection again on the 5th, those are the chapters that they're going to go back to on the 6th. So they can go up to 4 chapters. Again, they may not get all 4. And then on August 7th, which is Saturday, that is what we call Pref Day. So in Pref Day, they will basically be asked to pick between 2 chapters. So they may have a schedule to go back to 2, but they all may also have just 1 chapter, and that's okay. So that's something that, again, at that point, they're going to be asked to basically fill out the Moraba or MRBA electronically. That is basically, once again, that binding agreement between that PNM and that chapter that is governed by the National Panhellenic Conference. And then basically on Sunday, the 8th, that is when your daughter will be receiving the actual invitation for one of those chapters. And then basically later in the day, in the morning, they'll get to run down row and go into their houses. So that's pretty much a quick overview of how the day or the week will go. Throughout the week, they will be provided lunch at one of our dining halls. So again, they can just go in and swipe. So we have already worked that out with dining services. So all they need to do is walk in and let them know that they're part of recruitment, and they can definitely indulge and get food and get hydrated, which is going to be the most important thing for the week.
And then as we just watched that video and Harriet did a wonderful discussion and a deep dive into that mutual selection process, this is again just some key points and things to remember as they go through the recruitment process. It is a values-based recruitment. So in all of the days of recruitment, the women in the sororities will be engaging in deep conversations about why exactly they chose to join a sorority, what keeps them in that sorority, what might they have to look forward to if they choose to join a sorority, and also just talking about the values, friendship, family, care, all of that jazz. So really exciting stuff for your woman to associate and have conversations with, because again, this isn't necessarily something that is just taking place in the sorority houses, but also within their recruitment groups, as well as in the interactions with the Panhellenic Executive Board. The mutual selection process that Harriet specifically talked about is just the fact that our potential new members will be narrowing down their choices of which houses they would like to return to, and the sororities do the same on the potential new members. So that's just exactly what that specifically looks like. And then the last thing that we do want to mention, because it is important to note, is the process specifically does not guarantee that your student or your daughter will receive a membership to join or that bid. It goes back on that mutual selection process and how they are going throughout the week. That we are transparent, as Francisco and Harriet mentioned, about this process and exactly what that looks like. And then last but not least, as we get ready and gear up for recruitment, these are just some tips and things that you can encourage your student to do. Have an open mind as they go through recruitment. I know that there's a lot of different situations and scenarios about there regarding our sororities, and we just want to make sure that we are educating them all to go in with an open mind and think about all of our organizations, because they are all fantastic and unique and different, each in their own way. We are very blessed to have so many different organizations with different values, but also similarities up and down row. We want to make sure that you are optimizing their options. So something to think about is as they go through the selection period, just making sure that they are ranking and clustering all the groups that they have been invited back to, as well as thinking in the future where exactly they can see herself. Something that is also important to know is learning that login information, as well as using their Georgia Southern emails. We've seen a lot of questions specifically come from PNM's individual or personal emails. So I just want to make sure that they are starting to use their Georgia Southern email, specifically because this is where all of the information is coming from. One thing I do tell students to look out for is because they are using, or we are using, a pha@georgiasouthern.edu email. It is a group email or an organization email. So oftentimes I ask you all to check your spam folder or potentially somewhere else, as it can easily get lost since it's coming from a group or an organization. Another thing just to remember, I know a lot of the girls are nervous and also that there are some excitement there too. but just make sure that they are eating their meals, staying hydrated, especially in the hot Georgia sun, as they'll be walking up and down road to all the different parties and rounds that they have, as well as that they're getting a good night's sleep. It is really long days, but exciting and of course nerve-wracking. So I just want to make sure that they are getting and optimizing their sleep. Something else that we ask our women to do is ask questions. We always say that there is no dumb question. We want to make sure that they are as educated as possible about our recruitment process, as well as in any of the houses that they are in. It is the time, and we definitely encourage to ask questions about anything and everything in association with fraternity and sorority life, so that they understand completely what they are getting involved in. And then, of course, the last two things that are most important, we just want your daughters and your woman to be herself, be authentic, come in with your values, and find the house specifically that is meant for you. And then, of course, to relax and have fun. I completely understand that there are nerves and excitement. I was definitely there as well. We just want to make sure that they are going to have the best experience possible with our recruitment counselors, the rest of the women going through recruitment, and then, of course, our sorority women on row.
So I think that's it. So again, these are things that you guys need as far as contact information. The office number is definitely there. The email, will be checking both emails, office and Panhellenic emails. So just make sure that you have these with you at all times. So before we open up to questions, again, make sure you are either putting it on or in the chat, or raising your hand so you can actually ask the question on that front. But before we get started, I know there's been some questions asked already. So we'll start there. One question that we typically get asked is, again, how many women can we expect to get bids during this week? The reality is that we have done an amazing job when it comes to retention. So looking at back at 2019 and 2020, we are between 85 and 89%. So 85 was 2019, 89 was on 2020. So that is the women who start the process during open house or icebreaker round. So those are the women basically are getting through the process, remaining involved, and they are getting, again, 85 to 89% of those do get a bid. However, when we're looking at those that go through the entire process and go into that bid matching process, we are averaging between 98 and 99% retention rates. So again, it goes back to how we have shifted the idea. Again, it's about the retention, and that's important, and why we focus so much on these type of conversations, specifically with parents, because we know that they're going to reach out to you and ask questions. And basically what we're telling all our women is that, again, if you, whatever sorority you end up in, you're going to have a good sorority experience no matter what. So give it a chance, give it an opportunity. As Kira mentioned in her pieces, just because she got a bid does not mean that she has to accept it. And at any point during this process, your daughter can remove herself from the process, so she knows that. So again, there's no need for her to stay in the process if she doesn't feel comfortable staying in the process. Anything I hit or missed, Harriet, as far as questions that we typically get?
The only thing I would say, I think there, to put it simply, women that progress throughout the entire week as it relates to how many total women, we don't predetermine how many women will end up in the chapter. There's not a cap on the size of the chapters. So to put it very simply, those that progress to the end of the week and participate in a preference event on Saturday, that pool of women essentially divides out somewhat equally amongst the 7 chapters participating. So just to put that on your radar, it's not capped on, like, we grow and accept and want to bring sorority membership to as many people as possible. So there isn't like a preset number of invitations available, that this very, like Kira said, a very large kind of historic number for us. It's not going to push people out of the system just because there's a high interest. We look to accept as many women as possible into the community, just to clarify that.
And then there's a question about meal plan. So basically your daughter's meal plan, if she's in freshman or basically has a meal plan, that's going to kick in on Friday. So she will not be able to use it on campus until Friday. So just know that. The modules that we have every student complete, that is not something that she needs to print out and bring with her. All she has to do is upload that to Folio. They should have access. I know that we're a little bit backtracked on allowing PNMs to the Folio just because of the weekend, and we had some issues with checking grades because summer grades are being tabulated at the same time. So we had to kind of navigate that. But if she registered as of Saturday, she'll be having access to Folio by tomorrow for sure. So she just has to kind of basically drop it in there. No need for her to print it out or anything like that. We can see it from the back end. So there's no need for her to bring it to us or print it out. So that's a great question, actually. The schedules for the day are going to vary. So basically, it's depending how many parties she'll be having that day. So we basically say, yes, it's an 8 to 7 perspective. So keep that in mind. That again, it's going to be long days, waking up early, going to bed late. Not only because we do have, like I said, that day of having them go to parties, but also there's some programming that Panhellenic is doing just to create more a environment where the PNMs are getting to know each other, but also getting to interact with the PICAs and the executive members of Panhellenic as well. Going to be long days for sure. Question about, can they bring purses? Yes, they can bring purses. However, my encouragement is that, again, it's nothing really bulky, nothing real heavy in it, because again, they will be walking up and down road the entire week, starting on Thursday. Yes, Thursday. So just make sure that, again, whatever it is, it's not bulky. They're going to be in the hot Georgia sun for the entirety of those two days, basically. So just keep that in mind. But again, we definitely encourage them to bring whatever they need. We will also be having 2 break houses across the street, and 2 of our fraternity houses that we typically use for reg outs. So there are going to be snacks, water, hygiene products as well. So we will definitely provide different things for them to feel comfortable in provide anything they would need during that week as they do the in-person pieces. So the 2 rounds, or the only 2 pieces that are virtual, is that first round. So Tuesday and Wednesday are the only 2 virtual rounds, which we will be using Zoom. Everything else is in person, including bid day. So just keep that in mind on Sunday. Question again, have they given a bid and a SEP, can they drop their meal plan and eat at the house? So I would say no, because the reality is that there's only 1 chapter that has a meal plan attached to their chapter. So every other chapter does not have a meal plan or provide meals for their members. They might have some meals that they do every so often, but they don't have a full-blown kitchen like one of our chapters do that actually they actually do have a meal plan that's part of the chapter process or financial pieces to it. So I would not recommend that, because again, if not, they're not going to be able to eat during the week if they don't have that meal plan on campus. Trying to think here. So Kiera's asking some of the questions, so I'm just looking through. So yes, I'm going to address this because it has come up several times in conversations. So for off-campus pieces for housing, there's nothing we can do with off-campus housing. Does not fall within our purview. One of the things that we already kind of have talked about, and we actually talked about today when we met with Panhellenic Exec Board earlier this morning, is that that's something that we'll be doing for next year to make sure that we do an outreach to see if there's something that we can work out with the private off-campus properties to see if there's something, that accommodation that they can make in order to allow women to move in early, because this has become an issue, I would say, and mainly more so because we are starting classes a lot sooner this year. I think that there's things there that are conflicting with each other that are causing issues and tensions like that. But that's something that, again, for this year, there's nothing that we can do, but we'll be working on that for next year for sure. Question about
I answered majority of the questions, Fran. I think a lot of people have questions about the food and the meal plans and the dining hall.
So yeah, like I said, the meal plan kicks in on Friday. Your daughter will be fed on for lunch, basically through us. So they can basically eat at any of the dining commons that are open currently. starting next week. And then after that, typically what the PNMs do is either they carpool together to different places after hours, if that makes sense. And then we will be having some snacks and things like that during some of the events that will be happening after the rounds are over. So those are the type of things that you can expect as far as food. And like I said, we will be providing snacks at the break houses. Some, depending on the round, some chapters may have food there as well. So we definitely encourage the women to drink the water. There's nothing wrong with drinking water in any of these houses. It's a myth that if you drink the water, you won't get a bid. Again, it's important for your women to get hydrated and stay hydrated. So just keep that in mind, that it's okay to drink the water in the houses, because I know that that's a conversation that always comes up. So again, there is going to be enough food. And we will be on row as well if anything does happen to your daughters, and take care of the situation as they arise. Yes, Andrea, you can come. You can unmute yourself. You're muted, ma'am. You're muted still.
Sorry.
There you
Sorry.
go.
Yes.
You're
Even though the first 2 days are virtual, right? You guys are going to provide food for the girls?
Yes.
Okay, so they can get out of the room or whatever they are with their computer and go and grab something and then come back.
Yes.
Yes. So it's not going to be like in person, nothing through those 2 days.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Another one.
Yes.
You said that it's going to be a group of 100, around 100 girls that are going to try to go through the process.
No. So we have 693 currently registered. Out of those, we have 680-ish who are eligible. And there's some that we are still navigating the grade situation, because like I said, the grade system that we use to check grades is down because the university is doing to process summer grades. So we were not able to complete that grade check today. So more likely we'll complete that by tomorrow. So if I were to guess, we will be ending up at 685-ish, 88-ish. When it comes to total women starting the process on August 2nd. So that's really the entirety. So this is the second time that we have gotten to a high number. The first time was when we did or added a new sorority, that we had about 715 women go through the process. So we're excited about having that amount of women go through again. So definitely presents a challenge, but again, we're definitely navigating from a logistical piece from our end to make sure that they still get a good experience here at Georgia Southern.
Okay. The app, if my daughter already is in contact communication with you guys about the t-shirt, about the schedule and all this, it means like she's in the loop, right? She's already in the something.
Yes. So as long as she's been getting emails, and she can check if she's eligible on Campus Director, which is the software we're using. If she has access to Folio, that's a good indicator that she's been vetted through the entire process. So again, if you ever have questions, concerns, feel free to reach out to Kira or myself, and we can definitely navigate that and see where your daughter's at and confirm that she's actually gone through the process and is completely registered for this process.
Okay, I will let her know. So that's what you mean when it says upload Folio.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, she will know what you guys talking about.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so the other thing I would say that, again, if you ever have any questions, concerns about your daughter throughout the week, one of the things that we definitely want to make sure that you guys understand and know by heart is that PNM number. Because we have so many women who may have same names, it's easier to track them by a number. And I know it's not the ideal thing, but it's the best way to logistically to track them down as quickly as possible. So if you ever have a question, one of the things that we will be asking you is, what is her PNM number? Because that way we can track her and know where she's at within the process. So again, just make sure that you know that number. They will be having name tags, and the name tag will have that number in it printed as well. So just make sure that she keeps that information and she shares that with you, because that's going to be the quickest, easiest way that we can give you an update on what's the situation for whatever reason, and provide you timely responses.
And when is she going to get that number?
So she should already have access to it in Campus Director, but we will make sure it's also in the name tag. So she'll have access to it no matter what throughout the week.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions that have not been answered in the chat? Concerns? I know there was a concern. Bid day, for bid day, anybody can come to bid day. It's not restricted to anybody. There's no cap on who can come in, who can come out. So again, if you are in Statesboro on Sunday and want to join the festivities, feel free to do so. Again, the idea right now is to release the women around 10:30, 11-ish. Right, Kira? Did I not miss? So that's when they're going to be running
10:30 in the morning, right?
in the morning. Yes. So we're trying to get it to be done before the sun hits at noon. So just make sure that again, you are more than welcome to attend and visit with your daughter there. The other thing I always say is that make sure that she doesn't have an umbrella or a poncho, just because it might rain. It typically rains in the South during the summer, and especially during recruitment for whatever reason. And what we tell our students as well as PNMs is this is a rain or shine event. So again, unless there's a thunderstorm or a tornado warning, we will be out there moving this process along just because we have so many women, but we will make sure that they are safe throughout the entire process.
Okay.
Here, is there anything last minute comments, things that you have seen in the past that would be beneficial for them?
I can't think of anything. I want to echo, there were several questions about the PNM number and where they get the PNM number. Kira's answered that in the chat function. And just know that their use of campus director is really important and helpful to get down. Same thing with Zoom, understanding the functionality of these online portals and places where they would access information is critical. Reading email is super important. We send so many emails this next week. So there is a huge possibility that if they have a question, we've already answered it in an email or we'll be addressing it. So just really staying on top of looking at all those places where we're communicating will set them up to be successful for sure.
And also, as a remember for that first round that it's virtually for Zoom, just make sure that she is able and knowledgeable how to change her name, because sometimes what we saw last year was that they would log into either your account or somebody else's account and your name would be showing up, and that just throws it off. So again, if she is able to change her name or knows how to do that, that would definitely be beneficial, because that will basically facilitate the process for us on our end when we are allowing them to come into those rooms during those virtual rounds, if that makes sense. And we will provide some education around that that will help navigate that as well.
Okay.
Kira, anything else? Questions, anything?
Sorry, I didn't talk a lot, folks. I was trying to answer as much as possible in the chat. No, I'm just really jazzed and excited to welcome all your daughters and the women to campus. It's going to be an amazing week. I just want to reiterate that they are doing a lot of self-care. They are long days, so make sure they are drinking as much water as possible. And of course, eating during all the right times. As Francisco said, a lot of them are myths. The sororities will offer water or snacks, and then we have snacks in our break houses too. Please tell them to utilize those resources. We buy them for a reason. We just want to make sure we are taking care of your daughters as they go through this process. And then I also put in my email, so if you do have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them so that I can help you all to the best of my ability. But I'm excited. It's going to be a great week. I'm looking forward to it.
Thought about something but I completely forgot. Dr. Val, is there anything you would like to say before we leave tonight?
No, just have fun, everyone. Bring
Awesome.
your patience and your great attitudes.
Yes. Again, this was recorded, so we will be posting it on our YouTube channel. So just make sure that if you ever missed anything, you can rewind it there. So this will be listed. Your women also do have access to the mutual selection video on their folio. So again, they have access to that. So if they need to revisit that, we will go over with that with them yet again next week to make sure everybody understands and on the same page of how this recruitment process does work. So just know that, again, they'll be getting very similar information of what you got today, because again, we have seen the value of it to make sure that we're getting this information to both parents and students as they navigate this process. So again, make sure you ask questions. If there's any concerns, we'll be here basically all this week and next week. So feel free to reach out. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody.